Welcome back to Positive Impact. I'm Torian, a future generator, here to help you generate the future of your choosing. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in a consultation, feel free to contact me at supertsigma@gmail.com. Again, that's supertsigma@gmail.com. Let's talk about the Griselda Effect. The Griselda Effect. Named after the cocaine drug baroness Griselda Blanco from Colombia, you have three young men, or really four. One was a beloved brother of theirs who passed away by the name of Machine Gun Black. But the other three remaining characters that carry on this Griselda Records name and carry on the spirit of it consist of West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, and Benny the Butcher. These three men have a particular brand of hip-hop that is very reminiscent of the mid to late 1990s era, particularly the underground circuit. And I must admit, being their age also, and also coming up in that time of 1990s hip-hop, it did seem like a golden age. The industry at that time was brimming with individuality. Everyone had to be distinct. It was a time when true originality and uniqueness is what sold. You had to be wildly different from the next hip-hop artist. And that's how the 90s went. There were rarely any two rappers or rhymers who sounded alike. Each one was distinctly different. Even if the two rappers came into the industry together, raised on the same block, their styles and their delivery and their perspectives a lot of times would be like night and day. So you had this contrast that permeated the hip-hop scene in the 1990s, which brings me to our point, why I mentioned this entire thing about the Griselda Effect. I want to comment on what is called reviving the spirit of an age. Reviving the spirit of an age. Now, what does that mean? Reviving the spirit of an age has everything to do with individuals who collect and keep the tone, the culture, the impact, and the resonance that was signified in the particular time that that individual came up in. So, if you're a 60s person, it would be the psychedelic movement, a lot of grassroots music. If it was the 70s, might be a lot of soul, a lot of solid gold soul, a lot of blaxploitation. If it's the 80s, then you're talking about the return of classic rock and its merge with pop. You're talking about the 90s. Now we're getting more into the street versions of R&B. You're entering into the Jodeci's and the Black Streets and the Drew Hills on the R&B side, and then on the hip-hop side, the range was so vast. You're dealing with Wu-Tangs and Mobb Deeps and Death Rows, and you're dealing with Outkast, and you're dealing with Bone Thugs. You're dealing with all kinds of different artists with different expressions. And it seems like today, if I were to do a side-by-side comparison, there's a lot of monotony in the expression of today's particular brand of music. It's almost like something happened in 2010 that just caused every 100 rappers to sound exactly the same. And since 2010, 10 years later, seems like that number has astronomically grown to a level where the people who used to listen to hip-hop 20 or 30 years ago probably no longer listen to the genre in its totality. with the exception of the old school music that is significant again to the spirit of their age. How do you revive that? Well, you express what was missed, because truth be told, because of where you were and how far removed we are from that now, what is old can then become new. So you can end up reviving the spirit of an age. You see it happen with fashion a lot of times. Like for instance, jean outfits, the return of denim jean outfits. A few years, even the box came back. Remember the box, the Kid and Play? I seen it. And what's so ironic, yet germane to this topic of reviving the spirit of the age via the Griselda Effect is, look at the graphic on the screen. Fashion Rebels. That's who the group actually is. They started off as a clothing company, if I'm not mistaken. And from there, they grew into rap. And they just used their talents and their hard work and their hustle to become more than a clothing store. And look at what's happened to hip hop. Not only did they bring a new yet old, refreshing vibe to the genre known as hip hop, but you also see unity and solidarity amongst other hip hop artists who were great in that same time period. And these guys co-sign. You have Raekwons, you have Jadakisses and Styles, and it's just a long list, seemingly involving almost every MC who was nice in the 90s. And you see this unity stretching amongst all men, ranging between 30 and 40 something possibly, right around in that group. But you see a solidarity that was never expressed in hip hop as far as I can remember. So the point of this all with this Griselda Effect is, if you want to revive the spirit of your age, just bring those times back. Just embody those days. Keep the traditions. Keep the standards. Keep the swagger. Keep the dress code. Because when you revive the spirit of an age, it's like holding on to a memento. It's like reestablishing the culture. You're holding on to something dear, and you're letting the entire world know that the time you grew up in is cherished by you. See, when you're true to your roots, the way cycles go, your time to shine will come back around. Nothing really stays out of style. I'll say that again. Your time to shine will come back around. Nothing really stays out of style. If you miss the good old days, then bring the good old days back. If you miss the era of hip hop, where it was all about being very lyrical and putting as much wordplay in the space of the bars, then go ahead and bring it back. Since you are so passionate about reviving the spirit of your age, that now gives you the permission and the responsibility to express the spirit of that age. We need to know where we've been to understand how we got here. Just like we'll need to know what happened here as a reference point for the future. I talk about this with the ones that I hold near and dear. We talk about the good old days, about how things were. And you know what? We just end up bringing those times back. Because in every time period, you can face some monotony. That's why it's always good to revive and maintain the individual spirit of the era that you came up in. Because it might be just a refresher that the generation to follow needs. Again, I'm Torian with Positive Impact. And remember, you may never get what you want, but you will always get what you are. Happy existence, people. Thanks for listening.